Retirement is more than a destination. It's a journey that starts with a dream, a vision for the way you want to live, recharge, and give back. To get there, you need a plan to reach your retirement goals. Tom Mosley of Mosley Wealth Management has the strategies you need to plan for income, taxes, healthcare, and more. For years, Tom has been helping families plan for a successful retirement. Welcome to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley.
What makes taxes feel so complicated in retirement? For many, it's the change of how you earn, spend, and even withdraw your money. If you're not careful, taxes can take a bigger bite out of your savings than you expected. But it doesn't have to be that way. Tom Mosley is the CEO and president of Mosley Wealth Management. He is joining me today to help us understand taxes and give you strategies to help keep more of the money you've worked hard for in your pocket. And Tom, this is such a big topic. Boy, people's ears are probably perking up right now. Taxes is just a very complex issue, and it becomes complex even more so once we retire. Why so?
Well, because there are so many things that hit us from tax from a lot of different ways. You know, Will Rogers, the humorist from about 100 years ago, said that the only thing certain in life is death and taxes. The only problem is death doesn't change every time Congress meets. And so as it's complicated, number one, because you're getting taxed on other assets that you've never gotten taxed on before, like your 401k, your IRAs, those kinds of things. You're getting taxed on Social Security. Yes, we're still getting taxed on Social Security. Will there be a bill this year that changes? Maybe. We hope so, because I think that would be a good thing if we did not get taxed on Social Security. Wait a minute, not all of it, only up to 85% of it. So there's so many little bells and whistles and little things, little boxes and mazes that you have to go through with taxes, and then you get hit on them and, oh, I took too much money out of my IRA, so now I've got to pay more for Medicare. I've got to pay more for Part B and Part D. So there's so many more gotchas when you get to retirement that you just don't have those gotchas when you're earlier. Pretty much you work, they take tax out, you file your income tax. Most people file a simple form at the very beginning, you know, as you're growing through life to retirement. And so when you get to retirement, it all changes because it gets hit from a lot of different ways.
Let's break it down just a little bit here. Let's go back to Social Security. You brought that up, and I think that is something that really kind of comes out of the dark for some people. They're thinking, what? I didn't realize the taxes would impact my Social Security.
Well, we do, Amy, about 100 Social Security workshops all over Southern California every single year. If anybody wants to know where we're going to do a Social Security workshop, we're all the way from Calabasas to down in San Diego, out to Ontario, about 100 a year. Go to our website, Mosley Wealth Management, M-O-S-L-E-Y is the way you spell my last name, Wealth Management, and you can see all of our seminars. Come, they're all free. You can come and you can hear and you can see. I'm shocked at how, when I get to those seminars, so many times I ask, how many of you did not know that you're going to get taxed on Social Security? And half the hands go up. Because the surveys say that about 50% of the people think that Social Security is not going to be taxable, but it is going to be taxable. And when you reach a certain level, pretty low, $25,000 as a single person, $32,000, $34,000 as a married couple, it starts getting taxed. And then at $34,000 as a single, at $44,000 as a married couple, you can get taxed on up to 85% of all your Social Security as you begin to make new dollars.
Which feels like all of it at that point.
It feels like all of it. Here's why. You haven't been taxed on a lot of that, and then you go over, and I'm going to oversimplify this, okay? But you go over $34,000 as a single person or $44,000 as a married couple, you make one more dollar, and they pull up $1 of Social Security and they tax you on 85 cents of it. So for making one more dollar, you're actually getting taxed on $1.85. So if you're in a 22% tax bracket, automatically you've jumped to a 41% tax bracket. So avoiding tax on Social Security could be one of the biggest things to help you particularly if you're in those lower income levels of $34,000. Let's face it, in Southern California, $34,000 and $44,000, difficult to get by with that, particularly if you're getting hit with a higher tax.
How can we be proactive? That word seems like something that goes hand in hand with taxes these days. There are things we can do. We can get ahead of this a little bit and be forward thinking.
Right. Well, with Social Security, let's just take that. You can either, and I tell people, look, if you're making $100,000 in retirement and half of that's coming from Social Security, guess what? Congratulations, you're going to get taxed on all of your Social Security. So just know that it's coming. There's a lot of people have a very crazy saying when it comes to financial services: what you don't know won't hurt you, but what you don't know can kill you if you don't expect that. Muhammad Ali used to say, it was the punch that I didn't expect that always knocked me out. And if you know it's coming, you can plan for it. Again, there's that word we use so often on the show. You have to have a plan for how you're going to deal with it and how you're going to face it. So if you're making a lot of money, you're going to have to pay for it. If you're not making much money, then you want to avoid it at all costs. Are there ways that I can take money out that doesn't push that income up to that 25, 34, 32, 44,000 levels that are going to push me into getting my Social Security tax? One of the things that, I'm not just me. I have 10 advisors at 𝗧𝗠 Wealth Management. And within 6 months of every advisor coming on board, before they ever start meeting with clients, all of our advisors go through a proctored exam after taking a course from the National Social Security Advisors Association. And that doesn't make us Social Security geniuses, but it does make us work with people and know what we're talking about when we're talking about Social Security. And the biggest thing with social is optimizing it to get it at the best time for you and making sure that it doesn't kill you with tax. So all of our advisors, anybody who calls in and they get an appointment with any of our people at 𝗧𝗠 Wealth Management, you're going to sit with somebody who's learned taxation of Social Security, who's learned what are the ramifications of raising your income so that you might get taxed on Social Security. So you're not just dealing with somebody who says, well, go talk to the Social Security Administration, because they're not going to help you with the taxation of it.
People don't always realize that.
They don't realize that.
Yeah. Okay, important information. Thank you so much, Tom. Stick around. We will continue this conversation. When we come back, we'll talk about ways you can plan to help minimize your taxes in retirement. Stay tuned.
Retirement doesn't just mean the end of your work life. It's about living the life you planned for. Are you ready? Hi, I'm Tom Mosley with 𝗧𝗠 Wealth Management. At our free monthly events, you'll discover practical strategies to protect your savings, optimize your taxes, create income that lasts. Our events are aimed to help you feel confident about your future and to put you in control of your retirement plan. Seats fill up quickly. Use the information on the screen to save your spot at our free monthly events. We hope to see you there.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wander later. Call for your free analysis today.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom. It's just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
Welcome back to Right on the Money. Taxes don't have to be scary, but you do need a plan. So Tom is back with us to give us his top advice for keeping taxes in check. You say that 2 or 3 times. That's kind of hard. Your top advice for keeping taxes in check. What do you have?
Yeah, well, I don't know. You've really got to know your taxes. You got to know your tax bracket, because a lot of times, you know, you float along. Our tax bracket is inconsistent at best, because you're in the 10% tax bracket up until a certain point, and then it goes up to 12, which is pretty benign. And then you hit at 50,000 or so as a single person, at 100,000 as a married couple, it goes from 12 to 22. That can be a big chunk. Now, not all of it, just the new dollars that come in are taxed at that 22% rate. So you've got to have some coaching, I believe, and some looks at it. And I think the biggest mistake that people make is they plan on their accountant or their CPA giving them tax advice. And by and large, what I see from across the table and seeing the work of CPAs and accountants, they are at best really, really good tax preparers. They're able to prepare your tax, but if you're driving down the road of life, which we all are, those people are always looking in the rearview mirror. And here's what I mean. In March of the year, in fact, my CPA calls me in February of every year. Tom, get your stuff in, okay?
Let's go.
And he calls me in March. Tom, I got your stuff ready. Those are the 2 calls I get from my CPA, because he's never saying, you know, what you made last year, maybe we need to make these changes. Maybe you need to consider this with your corporations and things. He's always looking in the rearview mirror to see how much I have to pay for tax for last year. And a lot of people are the same way. They get into retirement, Amy, and they're always concerned about, what do I have to pay this year for taxes? Now, I'm gonna interject something that some people might turn their television off when I say this, okay?
Let's hope not.
Please don't. Please listen to the whole thing. You may want to pay more taxes now and pay far less tax over the course of your lifetime by doing and taking some tax action. You see, everybody's got a plan. The government has a plan for you, and that is, you take the money out of your IRAs and your 401ks, you pay income tax on it. What? You don't need it? Well, you turn 73, we're going to make you start taking money out of your 401ks and your IRAs because we need the tax dollars. And so you have to take those dreaded required minimum distributions. So preparing for that time, and many of our clients that are working with us, Amy, we get them to the point before they reach 73 where we have converted all of their money by taking action, by developing their own plan, we've converted their money from a forever taxed IRA or a 401k situation to a never again taxed Roth IRA. And they're never taxed again on that in their lifetime. If they're married, they leave it to a spouse. They're never taxed on that spouse's lifetime. And then when you leave it to your children in a Roth IRA, they're never taxed on it at that point ever. So that's what we mean by tax preparing and versus tax planning. We want to plan for our people. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, you want to look through that windshield.
You want to look through the windshield and not just always in the rearview mirror. If you look in your rearview mirror, you're going to have a wreck.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Absolutely.
But if you look down the windshield, you can see what's coming over 10, 15 years. Then we actually have a report that we run on that. When people come in and they sit down with us to do a retirement blueprint, we can actually run a report, and they are astounded on that more than any other thing. How much tax will you pay on your 401k and your IRA if you take it out the government's way, versus how much tax will you pay on your 401k and your IRA if you develop your own plan and you choose when you pay the tax? And we're able many times to save people more than half of the tax that they would pay out on a 401k or an IRA.
Those RMDs, required minimum distribution that we are required to take, that hence the word, that's changing. We got to keep up with all the changes that come with that as well, don't we?
That's back to Will Rogers. Every time Congress meets, and I want to say 73 for the age right now, because people are coming in now saying, I think it's 70 and a half. Well, it used to be.
That was,
used to be. I think it's 72. Used to be. I got news for you. In about 5 years, it's going to be 75, but right now it's 73, so we just stick with 73. So that's what we mean. They're always changing. One of the things that I do personally is I have trained for 10 years with a gentleman named 𝗏𝗏, and he is known as America's authority on IRAs and 401ks, and I'm very happy to associate with him. I'm actually at the master elite level because he trains us. I go 4 days a year, and we talk about tax law changes and tax rulings. You want to go with me, Amy?
I would love to.
Oh,
Let's
is
do
so
it.
boring. I promise you that.
See,
you know?
I have to act like I'm excited. Our viewers at home might be going, oh, why would you want to do that? But no, you're soaking up the knowledge and you're bringing it to your clients.
I dread it because I go twice a year for 2 days. I'm telling you the truth, but by 9 o'clock on the first day, it always hits me in the forehead, just smack in the forehead. Where can I get this information to help our clients if I don't come and I learn from the master himself, from 𝗏𝗏? And so, you know, if you've never heard of QCDs and qualified charitable distributions out of your IRAs and your 401ks, if you've never heard of many of the strategies that people are eligible for and they just don't even know they're out there, that can save them tons of money on tax. That's what we do. When I first started, I had gotten out of 20 years of the ministry. And the two managers asked me, they said, who do you want to work with? And they were thinking I would say doctors, lawyers, engineers, people with money, okay? And I told them, I said, I want to work with people who are in retirement. And they looked at me. This was in 1995. Because the leading edge of baby boomers, all the ones that are retired already now almost, the leading edge of baby boomers were just turning 30. And I said, I want to work with retirees to make sure they never run out of income. A couple of years later, I added to that, I also want to work with people to make sure they never run out of income the rest of their life. They pay as little as they're legally required to pay in taxes, because that's the biggest thing that it's robbing people from their retirement dreams. So when you entertain looking at some of the services we do and you say, what's different about you? We're concerned that you grow your money, but we're concerned that you don't run out of money and taxes don't steal your dreams.
And I love this continuing education piece that you do and are probably having your team do a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Very good. We've got more to come. Stick
Good.
around. Coming up, Tom will share some final thoughts on staying ahead of taxes in retirement and why talking to a financial professional can make all the difference. We'll be right back.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom is just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
Retirement doesn't just mean the end of your work life. It's about living the life you've planned for. Are you ready? Hi, I'm Tom Mosley with Mosley Wealth Management. At our free monthly events, you'll discover practical strategies to protect your savings, optimize your taxes, create income that lasts. Our events are aimed to help you feel confident about your future and to put you in control of your retirement plan. Seats fill up quickly. Use the information on the screen to save your spot at our free monthly events. We hope to see you there.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking all about actionable steps to stay ahead of taxes in retirement. Tom joins me once again, and I think, we can't reiterate the information that we're sharing about taxes enough. And I think we want to give our viewers kind of that key takeaway, what they need to be considering when it comes to tax strategies.
Well, let's get real, in the dirt. Okay,
Sure.
Let's get real practical. Like, it's not uncommon. I just had one last week. A lady called me up and said, "Hey, we're going on an African safari. I'm taking my daughter with me, and I need $40,000." Okay, so practically, she needs $40,000, and this lady's worked with me for about 5 or 6 years. So I talked to her, and her name was Donna, and I said, just always first names, never last names. I said, "Donna, well, let's look at your income that you think your income's going to be for this year." And she happens to be married, but she and her daughter are the ones that are going on the safari. So she's in a married filing jointly bucket. And she told me, she said, "I don't have that much income. I'm going to make about $50,000 this year, my husband and I." So she's right in the middle of a 12% tax bracket. If we take another $40,000 out of her IRA, that's going to come out, and she's going to have to pay income tax at regular income. Okay? She's going to stay in the 12% tax bracket, so federally, she's going to have to pay $4,800 tax on that. Now, what if Donna, or what if you said, "Well, I'm not there, I'm in the $100,000 range"? Well, you're in a different bucket. This is why working with a financial planner is good, because you can't take the advice from Bob at the water cooler or Sally in the break room and always go to town with it and say, "That's really good advice for me." Because if you're making $100,000 and you're in Donna's situation and you're married filing jointly, if we took that $40,000 out of an IRA, almost all of that's going to be taxed at 22% because you've pushed yourself up into a higher tax bracket. So whereas Donna's going to pay $4,800 tax, if you're at $100,000, or if Donna was at $100,000, she would pay $8,800 tax. Which would you rather pay, $4,800 or $8,800?
Let me think.
Yeah, don't think very long on that one, right? And so that's what sometimes we just listen and feed back. You say, "Well, what if you are in that $100,000 range?" Well, do you have a trust account, a brokerage account, a taxable account is what they're called, where you only pay tax on the capital gains that's not the whole amount, but just the capital gains? You could save yourself significantly on tax by taking it out of what I call the right bucket. I grew up on a farm, so you got to give me my buckets, all right?
You keep mentioning these buckets. I want to get some more insight on this. I'll let you finish your thought first.
Okay, but you want to take it out of the right bucket. Now, let me tell you what the buckets are. You've got the taxable bucket, that the bulk of it's already been taxed, and you take money out of that, you're only going to get taxed on the capital gain. You've got the tax deferred bucket. That's your IRAs and your 401ks. You're going to get taxed on every penny of that at regular income, and it could drive you up into a higher income bracket. And that's where you would possibly jump from the 12% to the 22%. The best bucket is the tax-free bucket, the Roth bucket, maybe money that you've got in a well-funded life insurance policy. But you really don't want to take that money out, because that money grows tax-free. No forcing of you to take the money out of that Roth bucket at any one particular time. So you want to keep that bucket as much as you can. So you really want to major on that taxable and that tax-deferred bucket. So that's one of the things when we come alongside people. We have people tell us, "I've never had an advisor tell me that. I've never had an accountant that does my taxes, and my guy's a CPA, or the lady who does my taxes is a CPA, and they've never done that kind of planning." I said in the last segment, our goal is to make sure you never run out of income. And if we can save you from $4,800 down to $4,800 of tax on the same withdrawal that you might have to pay $8,800, we're making sure that in the later stages of your life, you're never running out of tax, and you're paying as little as you're legally required to pay in taxes.
Yeah, these buckets are helping you feel more in control. I imagine giving you so much more confidence once you kind of get that concept clarified to you. The importance of working with a tax-focused financial advisor, and you mentioned it, just the
Right.
value of having someone by your side. It really makes it so much better.
You know, there's 𝗧𝘂 Wealth Management, and then there's the big box firms. And I've got 10 advisors, and I have hired advisors from those big box firms. And, you know, the big names, the ones you see do the commercials on the weekends for the golf tournaments and the baseball games and the basketball games and those kind of things. And those guys come over and they say, you know, I'm really intrigued by Roth conversions because this idea of paying the tax now on your own plan and not the government's plan, we realize how much it can save people money. But the big box firm that I used to work for didn't want us to do Roth conversions. And I've delved into that, Amy, over a period of time and talking to real people who are working for me. And they say, well, they always told us that if we take $100,000 and it's to your advantage to go ahead and pay 22% tax now while the tax rates are historically low and convert that over into a Roth, there's only $78,000 left. If we don't do the conversion, we can bill them on $100,000. If we do the conversion, we only get to bill them on $78,000. So the firm I used to work for doesn't want to do Roth conversions. Well, guess what? If we're working with somebody and we do that Roth conversion, you also go from 100 that we can bill you on to 78 for us. But here's the big difference. As a real fiduciary who does what's in the best interest of your client, we want to do the Roth conversion if, not always, but if it's in the best interest of our clients. And everybody's different. Everybody has a different stomach for paying taxes early or paying taxes later, taking a chance they might go down even lower.
Yeah, you brought that up earlier, and you could almost hear hear the viewers kind of go,
Oh,
I don't want to do that.
But overall, you're going to, in many cases, if we recommend you do a Roth conversion, we're going to show you how much money you potentially could save over a period of years. And when people grab that, and I want to tell you, there's two happy times in retirement. There's the happy time when people get their mortgage paid for. You can hear them sigh. Really big time.
Shoulders kind of.
Yeah, just wow, I'm so happy that house is paid for. The second happy time is when they get all of their money out of the IRA and the 401k where they're forever taxed, and they get it into a Roth where they're never taxed again on it.
I love that tax-free bucket that you spoke of.
Absolutely.
It's a great idea. All right, this is an important topic. Thank you so much, Tom. Great insight, as always. And if you're ready to take charge of your retirement tax strategy and help make sure your plan is as tax efficient as possible, reach out to Tom Mosley and the team at Mosley Wealth Management. They're here to help you get the most out of your retirement savings. For Tom Mosley and all of us here at Right on the Money, I'm Amy Sharp. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.